Hello everyone, my name is Mike. The name of the channel is Play More Games, and today we're going to be unboxing Volume 12 of the Great Campaigns of the American Civil War series, Hood Strikes North, the Tennessee Campaign, Fall 1864. So this is the latest module in the Great Campaigns of the American Civil War series, and we meaning Multi-Man Publishing, just reprinted Stonewall Jackson's Way 2. So check out my unboxing video for that if you haven't already, or don't do that and stick around and watch this one and then watch it later, or don't watch either. It's really your call. But we're going to be taking a look at this one in this video, and yeah, so let's get started. We're going to pop the box. Alright, so the first thing we have is our note from Multi-Man Publishing. If you have any issues or concerns, it gives you a couple different ways to contact them. And it has our contents. We have 2 counter sheets. This one is a little bit of a smaller footprint game. 1 map, the latest rule set, the game-specific rules, and of course our charts, terrain effects chart, and tables. They say thank you for your purchase. I say thanks for the great games. Happy to help. Alright, so here we have our 2 dice, and again General Ginny, she loves to play with them, so I try to hide them from her and use something a little bit thicker. Less of a choking hazard. So here we have our scenario booklet, and let's see if we can find the artist. It's again Keith Rocco. On the Rim of the Volcano is the title of the picture. You can see, let's check out the credits here. Joe Belkowski, Ed Beach, Chris Withers, matte painting Charles Kibler, graphic design Charles Kibler, Nicholas Scooby. I mean, what a team, right? Rules layout Nick Richardson. You have playtesters here and proofreaders. So I know a couple of these names. I know Alberto Romero. Certainly not. I mean, certainly not personally. Patrick Pence. I think that they are 2 of the people. Well, Patrick has his own YouTube channel, and I've watched a lot of those videos, and I think he's played a couple games with Alberto on there. So, if you're interested in the series, you're probably already aware of his channel, but if not, check it out because they're a lot of fun. So let's crack it and we'll see what's inside. So you have your game-specific rules. So these are kind of like additions to the standard rule set for this game specifically, also known as game-specific rules. Hey, there you go. I'm inventing these things backwards. So you have your scenarios. First one, here comes the rebels, the race for Columbia, we will make the fight, a great chance was lost. These are all basic scenarios. The enemy was badly whipped, Battle of Nashville, Hood's retreat, that Devil Forest, Nathan Bedford Forest, Devil, doesn't begin to cover that. And then you have advanced game rules, and let's see how many advanced game scenarios we have. Just 1. Alright, so we have maybe 6 pages of advanced rules. That's not too bad. That's definitely not too bad. Yeah. setup instructions. And then you have an awful lot of historical background, including dates. And then one of the things I really like is a map gazetteer. So you can look up these specific hexes and get information about the hexes. That's one of the things that I really like about this series, is it's really game as history. And certainly there's lots of room for ahistorical results, but these games are very informative. Now Hood Strikes North is, I guess I would say, the third Western campaign. Battle Above the Clouds, Atlanta Is Ours, and now Hood Strikes North. So they follow a loose chronology. Yeah. So I think when you leave off in Atlanta Is Ours, it's like late October 64, and this is early November 64. So let's look at our counter sheet. So we have leaders and units. So here we have again the Rock of Chickamauga himself, Stanley, Schofield, a lot of familiar names if you've played some of the other games in the series. There we have, as David Doctor puts, the GOAT, Hood, and 3 corps commanders, and a decent number of cavalry commanders. Here we have the the basic game rules, which is now in revision 1.4. To my understanding, the only thing that really changed is some nuances about retreats. But I will look it over before I start playing. Again, this is another Keith Rocco piece of artwork. So, charts and tables. So, be interesting to see what kind of game-specific modifiers they have. Just looking at it quickly, Hood and Forrest have a +1 on assaults, which would be very nice. Alright, here we have manpower, fatigue, and fortifications. So you can see that the highest ones over here are 11. So in comparison to some of the other titles, and for the Confederates it's 8. In comparison to some of the other titles, a lot less manpower in the theater. You have, again, another copy of Charts and Tables. Here we have the map I will set aside for just a moment. Here we have the terrain effects chart, which is double-sided. And then we have force display, Union force display, which would mean that we have the Confederates here. So, let me get the box out of the way and I will set up the map. Okay. Now, it's kind of difficult to see, so I'll just talk about it briefly before we go off the mount here. So this one is actually oriented where this end is the south and over here is the north, but it is still printed like you're looking up and down. So that's definitely something to consider or keep in mind, because sometimes rules will call for cardinal directions, and that is not necessarily, and definitely not in this case, north, south, east, west. It's north, south, and then east, west. So here we go. We're going to go for a ride. Let's take a look at the map. Let's take a look at some of the details. So here we have Murfreesboro, and you can see these, where am I? Oh, here we are. Pikes, these red ones are railroads, these light blue ones are creeks, the dark blue ones are rivers. So these are minor rivers, so you can see bridge crossings. These look like forts. The name Fortress Rosecrans was not a giveaway. Up here you can see a ring of forts surrounding Nashville. And you can also see a major river. So we can tell that it's a major river in contrast to the minor river because it's much thicker. Okay, you can see redoubts here, which kind of give like a basic entrenchment bonus. But again, this is 1864, so by now the Unions and Rebels have learned really the value of getting to a position and digging in and just really making it hell. And that is reflected in the rules by when you take an entrenchment action during the turn, I think you can go immediately to a abatis, and then you can continue and go to breastworks build, breastworks, all during the turn, so not even during the recovery phase. So that is a nice and cheap way to take a 4 manpower unit and make it a 10 or 12 manpower unit and really make it not very attractive to attack. So that's Nashville. So let's see if we can find Columbia. Oh, here we are. So over here is Columbia. Sorry for the adventure here, folks. Okay, so here is Columbia, and we can see its spot in the upper left quadrant of the map. And between Columbia and Nashville is a couple of, you have a long pike that goes from Columbia, stretches across the river, and again that red line is the railroad. So it goes through Spring Hill and crosses and meets up in Franklin, goes over the river in Franklin and meets in Brentwood and goes to Nashville. So that is really maybe the most efficient way to do it. And I understand, you know, movement cost in non-rain turns is similar for pikes and roads, but that's definitely the big transit path. So let's take another look at the art itself. And unlike some of the other games, there's a lot of good terrain. So you have these clear hexes here, and then the slightly larger green ones, I have to double check myself before I put my foot in my mouth, are rolling hexes. So very favorable terrain for attack, very favorable terrain for artillery. There's very few hills, and I don't see any mountains at all. There might be some, but I'm missing. We do have a couple of forest hacks, like over here, and definitely up here. But this middle chunk of the map is really good terrain for attack. So if you're Hood, that's probably what you're going to do. Alright, let's put it back in the box, and we'll put a bow on this unboxing video. Okay, so that is an advanced look at Hood Strikes North, available now from Multiman Publishing. Just a couple of thoughts that will echo the thoughts I provided in my Stonewall Jackson Ways 2 unboxing video, is that for dollar value, you cannot do much better than the Great Campaigns of the American Civil War System. I think this title is available now. It's a flat 100, but you do get a really interesting game with lots of different scenarios. Some of the scenarios, I imagine, if they are similar to other titles, are really quick, so you could play them, you know, once is each side, see who kind of does better. But if you want something a little bit more complicated, a little bit longer, not necessarily difficult, but a little more in depth. You have the advanced campaign game, which is a lot of fun. I think a lot of people think that that's where the real fun of the game is, but for me, pound for pound, I think I prefer the scenarios, just because they are shorter. You get to see a lot of different situations in comparison to the campaigns, which I think show you one situation. And because of the nature of the system itself, which includes dice rolling to see who goes next, dice rolling to see how far you move, dice rolling to see the results of your attack, there's really lots of variability, lots of replayability. So, in terms of dollar for dollar, I can think of few systems better than the great campaigns of the American Civil War system. That's about as much praise as I'm willing to put on a game that I haven't played yet. But based on my experience with the series, I'm sure they've got another banger on their hands. Thanks again for watching. My name is Mike. The name of the channel is Play More Games. If you're interested in more great campaigns of the American Civil War content or want to see how it's played, I've uploaded a couple of videos to my channel. I also mentioned Patrick's Tactics and Tutorial channel. They have a lot of great, he has a lot of great videos there too. So you can check those out and say, hey, is this something for me? And if so, you know, and I hope that it is, take a look into picking up one of these great games from Multi-Man Publishing. So, thanks again for watching. Once again, this is Mike. You know, feel free to leave a comment. And we'll see you around.